Hey y'all, what's up? Crystal here with Crystal Clear Convos. Welcome to yet another episode. I am your host, Crystal Smith, and I'm so delighted to have you with me this evening. I have a very special guest on with me today, and we have a power packed 30 minutes. So make sure that you grab your pen, you grab your paper, you tune in to what we have to talk about today. If you haven't done so already, please make sure that you go in, you like, subscribe, follow Crystal Clear Convos. It's all one word and it's all on all platforms. Let's see, we're on Facebook, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on any of our Crystal Clear Convos. We have some really good topics coming up in the future. And like I said, today's topic is going to be information packed and you don't want to miss. Today, I'm delighted to be able to have my guest, Pastor Baron Braswell, with me. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me with you on this evening.
Yes, Pastor Braswell is has been in the financial service industry for almost 30 years. He's very well versed in the financial services area, and he's also the pastor of Beulah Baptist Church, the executive pastor, excuse me, of Beulah Baptist Church in Woodford, Virginia. And we're thankful to have you on today to share with us.
I am
So,
delighted to be with you.
thank you. We always try to get together and kind of get a backdrop on our topic. Today, we're going to be talking about uncomfortable truths and uncomfortable truths when it comes to major life events. So, when you're talking about planning for retirement, when you're talking about getting married, when you're talking about planning for, doing your will or preparation for the family in the event something happens, some people, I'll say, tend to do a poor job of doing that. When you are trying to prepare, you have children that will eventually grow up and be ready to go off to college. The preparation process of making sure that we put something aside to go towards tuition or living expenses for them. So there's a lot of areas in our life, long-term care, that we need to prepare and plan for, and that we don't always do a great job at. So I'm glad to have you on today to be able to give us some clarity to this. I want everybody to know that we are not selling a product. This is informational, educational, to give us a better mindset so that we can be better stewards of our money and to also be able to be better prepared for things that are coming up and happening in the future. So when we talked the other day, Pastor, you shared with me there are like at least three legs when it comes to trying to plan for your finances or anything like that. I'm going to kick it over to you, and you can start us out how you like. If you want to give us a little more background on yourself and what you do, feel free to do that.
Well, I'm glad you started with the discussion of uncomfortable truths. Um, when it comes to our money, something that is near and dear and precious to us, we don't give it the level of concern, if you will, when it comes to planning.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of gloss over it. We'll get around to it when we get around to it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most significant events that occurred in my life financially was when my son died. Uh,
Yeah.
no one ever expects their children to die before them. It's an uncomfortable truth, but we
It
all
is.
have to plan for end of life as well as any other contingencies that life will throw our way because we don't know what's going
Mm-hmm.
to occur. And if you don't plan for things, then uh, when those events do occur, then they really take the
Devastate
wind
you.
out of your sails, if you will. It will
Mm-hmm.
absolutely demolish your financial plan or any platform that you thought was going to offer you a stable financial plan. Now, when we talk about a stable financial plan, that was that platform that I was telling you about, any stool that you sit on, in order
Mm-hmm.
for it to be stable, to allow you to sit in comfort, has to at least have three legs. And the three legs of financial planning that I'm concerned with when I discuss with my clients is insurance for protection for life and protection for property, protection for long-term care type of events. So insurance is a major leg in financial planning. Retirement and retirement planning. Now, we're not just talking about retirement and when you stop working and you start living off the money that you've saved, but retirement as it pertains to wills and trusts and things of that nature, and then and protecting your legacy, and then obviously the short term uh, perils that can come your way, because there's always going to be a contingency that pops up in your life, and you need to have cash available in order to address that, so it doesn't have an impact on your entire financial plan. So I always look at those three legs as the stable platform for planning for our financial security. When you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you will, if you want to prioritize those legs, you're looking at first your protection. That's the base for everything that you do, and that's the insurance piece. This next portion of it would be your short and midterm planning, your monies that are set aside for those type of contingencies, and then finally your equities. Well, as people, we tend to do it upside down. We're more interested in the equities and what's going on in the market, and then we deal with the other stuff later. And so we do it backwards. And so when anything occurs that knocks our plan off balance, we're really not planning from a stable platform.
Yeah, and a good point in our conversation that we were having the other day, you said the worst thing is not that you're going to die, it's living too long and running out of money or something like. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Absolutely.
but it was so
Absolutely.
profound.
We all are concerned about dying too soon. And that's not the thing that scares most people. Most people
Hmm.
are frightened by the fact of living too long and running out of money. That
Mm.
brings chills up the spines of most of our clients that we talk to, because you can all imagine in your 70s and 80s, and now you're on a fixed income, and now you have to, you did not plan properly when you were younger, and so now you're forced to make decisions about how you intend to live the rest of your life, doing things that you may not particularly wish to do. Now, the discussion comes up about, and we're not trying to put down Walmart or Walmart employees, but
Right,
when you're older, if you want to do that because you like meeting people and smiling and being busy because you have that, that's fine if that's what you wish to do, and
right.
you have the ability to do it. But if you don't have the ability to do that, or you're forced to do it in order to make ends meet, then now the concern is did you do the proper financial planning ahead of time?
Right. We want it to be optional, not something that at 70, 75, we feel like we have to go and do something or pick up some type of job in order to make the ends meet. We definitely want it to be optional or something that we want to do. So let's
Absolutely.
stay right there with the life insurance piece of it. There for years, there have been people that have used life insurance as a means to be able to create wealth. Um, they invest money in different type of policies. They put aside funds, and then when they need money for whatever, whether it's college plans or whatever, they can go and borrow money from themselves. But I know that you have a testimony, that testimony related to your son. But tell us how the value behind having a policy in place, and kind of how or where to start with getting that. So, say for example, someone doesn't have a policy in place, and speaking of which, I need to check mine because I think my ex husband is still on my beneficiary. Probably we need to get him off. Okay, but but Tell our audience where they start if they were to pass away today. We're not doing GoFundMe's, okay? No more GoFundMe's when our loved ones pass away. We want to have something in place so that we can give them the going away that they deserve, and you don't have the stress and the burden behind trying to find money and find finances. It's a lot when you have to put someone away. You want to put them away without the burden and stress of how are we going to do this? We have to now have a whole fundraiser. So can you share with us like where do we start? Where do we go? How do we do that? And give us a baseline of what we're looking at based on, I know it's based on health and things of that nature.
Well, let's address the first thing that you mentioned is your ex-spouse. So in
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, whenever you have an ex-spouse, in order for that person to receive death benefit proceeds, they have to be restated. So in that particular case of your ex-spouse, he cannot receive benefits, even though he's listed as the beneficiary. He has to be restated,
Okay.
and the
Well, that's
new
good to know.
beneficiary needs to be written in. Now, there's cases where you want the ex-spouse restated if it's a child support issue or something like that. Then you restate them as spouse, ex husband, ex wife, and then that way that person would be entitled to the benefit in that case. But the original lead-in question was, okay, so what do we do in order to purchase life insurance and go through that process? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to say, well, why am I buying life insurance? We always buy life insurance for one primary reason. You love somebody or you love something. But the purchase of life insurance is predicated off of loving something, right? Or loving
Mm-hmm.
someone. So if that's the case, if there's someone in your life that you love and you want to make sure that you buy them the time that they need so that if that life changing event occurs, that you can have the time that's needed to make the adjustments that are necessary, then or that person can have the time that's needed to make the adjustments that are necessary. The next thing you have to do is determine what type of insurance you want. Now, there's some insurances that are great for death benefit only, and people are very
Mm-hmm.
familiar with term insurance products. And so they'll say, I just want a death benefit at the lowest possible cost. Well, everything has an advantage and a disadvantage. Don't buy into this panacea that because it's the cheapest, it's the best. That
Right.
depends on your story. That's why they have different types of policies because everyone has different sets of needs. Some people are attracted or to the allure of living benefits that some life insurance policies provide. Those living benefits provide cash value. They can be
Mm-hmm.
used for, you can use them in college funding. You can use them for a variety of different things, just like you would. It doesn't make sense for everyone to live in an apartment. Some people feel like it's more important to live in a house, and vice versa. It doesn't always make sense to go purchase a house. Sometimes some people just need to live in an apartment. Depends on your story. But that's
Mm-hmm.
term insurance and permanent insurance. Term insurance is the cheapest form of insurance you can buy in the short run, but it's the most expensive that you can buy in the long run because there's no value in that other than the death benefit. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Permanent insurance, whole life or variable universal life insurance, has a cash value component built up in it so that you can use the cash values or use the cash values to help offset the increasing cost of insurance in the long run. Now, in my particular case, my youngest son, when he went to college, his mother and I were divorced, and she had a 529 plan on him that we used to help fund college. And I used cash values from my life insurance policy to help him so that when he got out of college, he didn't know any college debt whatsoever. In the
Mm-hmm.
interim, I could pay back the loans from my life insurance policy to myself. So I was credited for the loan that came out. And when I paid it back to myself when I was able to afford to pay it back to myself. No one forced me as to when I should make those payments or structure those payments. So those are some of the advantages that you can use life insurance for. But businesses, like I said, not only do you love someone, you might love a business. And in those particular cases, business owners or partners would need to have life insurance on each other, because these two particular business owners went into business. One of them passes away, and now
Mm-hmm.
that partner does not necessarily want to be partner with that person's spouse or that person's child. So those are buy-sell agreements or key person insurances that we perform for our clients.
Awesome. And it's important to note that the younger you are, the less expensive potentially the plan will be, because as you get older and you age, as you have the potential to have different medical or health issues, it can drive the price of your insurance up. So you definitely want to get into that as early as possible.
Yeah,
Now, we don't, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, absolutely. In fact, we all are heading to a point where we'll become uninsurable. We don't know when
Mm,
that time is going to be. We don't know we're going to cross into that gray area of becoming uninsurable. And so the earlier you do it, the better it is for you financially, and the more opportunities you're going to be able to reap as a result of doing it earlier.
awesome. Now, we don't want people to mistake having life insurance for having a will. Those are two different things. And a will is going to be more detailed. A will is going to be able to outline who gets what your assets are, who they go to, who's responsible for what, and things of that nature. The life insurance is going to provide your family with the comfort in knowing that they have financial means to be able to provide a good funeral, bury you, and then whatever is left over, whatever you choose to leave for them or with them, is in the excess of that they can have for that.
Crystal,
So
I
I
want to
want
jump in. Crystal, can I jump in on
to,
that real quick? Because you
sure.
opened up something that I think your viewers would benefit from. Life
Mhm.
insurance goes outside of the estate unless the estate is the beneficiary. So the advantage to life insurance is that a creditor cannot attach life insurance if a person dies and they had left a large medical debt
Mhm.
that needed to be paid. The life insurance goes directly to whoever the beneficiaries are and cannot be attached by creditors. That is a significant advantage to life insurance, is that it goes outside of the estate. Whereas if you have monies in mutual funds or monies in a savings account or something like that, that is in the person's estate and can be attached by creditors first before it goes to beneficiaries.
And that's a very good point. Is the money taxable? Is life insurance taxable when it's
Life
paid
insurance,
upon death?
for the most part, there's rare exceptions when it is taxable, but for the most part, it is not taxable.
Okay.
Generally, if you have a situation where you have life insurance that was purchased by a company on its key person, and the company's paying the premium to get the tax break, then the benefit would be taxable to the beneficiary. But there's in most cases it's not taxable.
Okay. That's a good note to know. So we basically hit on life insurance. I think we brought up some good points. Even if you're able to just get something in place and you're not trying to necessarily use it as a form of making money or investing to make a big gain off of it, having something in place is so important for your family, because you definitely don't want to leave them hanging. Let's switch over to talk about 401k. For government people, it may be a thrift savings plan or TSP. It may be another. It's a number of different funds that you can invest in and what they're called. And I wanted to bring attention to, when we talk about uncomfortable truths. I used to work in the benefits unit where we would process retirements. And there were people that were getting ready to retire that were going to have to take money out of their 401k to try to fund their child's college. Now, what you choose to do with your money is completely up to you. But when you have 401k or money that's designated or earmarked for retirement, you and I had the discussion on, is it a good idea if you're coming towards the end of your career to pull out a lump sum, to have to worry about paying that lump sum back to put towards retirement? Is it a better idea for those who are still early on, if you're preparing to have a child or have a child, to discuss getting that 529 plan so that you have a separate fund designated for college expenses? Can we touch on 401ks and 529 plans a little bit?
Certainly, certainly. So a 401k or is part of retirement planning. That's the next leg of the stool that we're talking about. Now, 401 just means it's a retirement plan that's employee sponsored by companies that are in the profit arena. Now, if you have a 403b plan, that means that that's an employer sponsored plan for employees that are in the non-profit arena. For example, teachers or clergy. So they would have a
Mm-hmm.
403b plan. A 457 plan is for those that are that work for governmental agencies. Theirs is called a 457 plan. Sometimes a thrift savings plan in that arena. And then also you have a variety of other plans, 401a and et cetera. So all those are just IRS or IRC codes designating the tax advantage of that qualified plan. So we can all treat them the same. Let's treat them the same. They generally have the same provisions, and they're used for retirement purposes. Now, the only difference is the Roth version of the 401k or the Roth version of or just the Roth IRA is that the Roth allows you to put money away with after-tax dollars and receive the benefits free of any taxes. But in a 401k or an individual retirement account, it's all pre-tax money. So you get the tax advantage early. And then because you get the tax advantage early, later on, you pay the taxes based off the income tax bracket that you're in at that time. And like you, I do believe that you should make retirement money. The best thing to do is to give money a name. And when you give money a name, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't run away from home, right? It
Right.
goes where
I
it's
like
home.
that.
So, and with our retirement money and our 401ks, et cetera, and so forth, I would tell our folks out there that the best thing for you to do is to try to maximize your contributions into your qualified plans, especially if your employer is matching your contributions. You want to maximize those contributions and take full advantage of that. Just to give a short biblical reason why I believe that is that Joseph, if you look at the 41st chapter of Genesis, Joseph had interpreted the dream of Pharaoh. And he told him that there were going to be 7 good years and there were going to be 7 bad years. But when you have the 7 good years, save 20% of everything so that
Mm-hmm.
when the 7 bad years come, you
Yeah.
will be not only able to feed yourself and your people, but you'll be a blessing to others, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, we need to get in the habit of saving money, not just this 10% that everyone is talking about, this mystical 10%. I think that 20 makes more sense because you'll get used to not having that money. And when you're used to not having it, then you're going to safeguard the money that's being invested and allow it to grow for you. Hopefully, it surprises you one day and you open up an envelope or a letter and say, "Oh, gee, this is how much I have. Isn't this a good
Yes.
thing?" As far as retirement money is concerned, I believe that folks ought to have a more disciplined effort into putting money aside. And I say 20%. And a lot of times people can't get to 20% right away. And I say, that's fine. Start at a place where you feel comfortable. And then each year increase it until you get to that mark of 20%. Now, the other part of your question was 529 plans and other instruments. That's the third leg, because other things come up that we're going to have to buy a car one day because your car is going to eventually run out, or you're going to have.
Can we? I don't want to jump into 529 just yet because our time is flying by, and I know that you have agreed to come on and give us a part two. This is a lot of really good information, and people need to hear it. Hopefully, people love all the scandalous topics, but hopefully they'll take the time to sit and listen to something that is educational and helpful. Because when you talk about investing money and then open up an envelope one day and, oh my gosh, all you have is, you have all this money. I've been I've been with my employer for 25 years, just not having the knowledge and the understanding of how it worked. I, went and I borrowed from it here and took a little bit here and, I'll get a loan here and I'll do a withdrawal there. And now my fund is not nearly where it could have been if I had the right idea and the wisdom on how to actually use it to gain and make it grow. Like you said, getting a promotion, getting a raise, adding a little bit more, increasing it over time. So I want us to be able to talk about, well, what if I'm an entrepreneur? I don't have a retirement fund. I haven't been saving up money. I might need long-term care. I have a baby, a small child that hasn't been to college yet. We're going to talk about all those in our part two. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you for joining us this week. And we are going to continue this convo and talk about all those topics that we just discussed to put some additional information out. So if you haven't done so already, please follow us on all things Crystal Clear, our Crystal Clear community, Crystal Clear Convos, all one word, on all the social media platforms. Until next week, be blessed.